Hey everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Films by Jeremy, and once again, thank you so much for stopping by. Today, I have a pretty quick one for you, so let's just get to it. Our friends at Freewell sent me their micro SD card, CF Express A and B Pro Reader. So let's just dig into the box. So first things first, this is the Pro Reader. If you twist the little knob up here, you're able to actually access the reader like this. So not only is it an SD card reader, but it's also an SD card storage system. You're able to fit 6 micro SD cards, 3 regular size SD cards, 1 CF Express A card, and 1 CF Express B card, and then 2 nano SIMs, so a little SIM card for your phone. You're able to just toss in here as well. Super cool. And of course, that's not all. There's also a USB Type-C to USB Type-A converter and also a carabiner, so you could hook up your SD card reader to your belt or something. I'm sure there's a more practical use for it. And this USB converter also supports 10 gigabyte write speeds. Okay, so it's an SD card reader. It's a fast SD card reader. Like, what's the big deal? Why make a dedicated video on this? As my career evolves, I find myself shooting larger and larger file sizes. When I first started, I was shooting, 1080p, and then a couple years ago, I was still shooting 1080p, but also tossing 4K into the mix, and then started slowly progressing to just 4K, and then now with the S5 Mark IIX and the S9, I'm shooting file sizes like 6K and 4K still. So the sizes have become from 1080p to 6K open gate, which, significantly different file sizes. So up until this past month, I've been using this guy here. This is a basic Insignia SD card and a micro SD card reader with a blazing fast write speed of 35 megabytes a second, which, that was sarcasm. It is not blazing fast. But in a way, I kind of enjoyed using it because I just, come back from a shoot and then import my footage. And while I'm doing that, I could scroll my phone, go for a walk, and, just do anything else in between other than working on my projects immediately. But there's times where I want to get things done and get things done now. And it's a pain in the butt to want to work on something immediately, but have to be stuck importing the footage. But with the Freewell Pro Reader, I no longer have an excuse to sit on my projects. I can get to work on them almost immediately, which, is great. It actually is great, especially for a more practical and professional environment. You want to be able to offload your footage immediately. Freewell boasts transfer speeds of up to 10 gigabytes a second, which is just unfathomably fast. That's like the best case scenario, I'd say. Like, one, you need a card that can support that speed, and also a computer or inputs that also support that speed. I edit on a PC that has slow USB ports, so USB 2 and then a few USB 3s, so it's not really the most, I haven't been able to use the 10 gigabytes a second, but I do have SD cards that are 280 megabytes a second, and I haven't been able to use that, especially with the generic SD card reader. So this thing has been a game changer, and I've been using it for the past, I think, month and a half, nearly 2 months now. It's one of those things where I'm like, I don't know how to make a video on an SD card reader, but it has come in super handy and super useful, and I don't use anything but this now to read my footage. Now I'm just all talk, so let's get to a practical use case scenario. Okay, so we're gonna run a demonstration using 3 different methods of importing footage. Method number 1 is going to be through the MacBook Pro's SD card reader. Method number 2 is going to be using the generic Insignia Best Buy reader. And the third method will be using the Freewell Pro Reader. The clip I'll be using for this is the entirety of the first part of my review, which is about 17 minutes long. So let's first check out how big this file is. So the file size is 25.62 gigabytes. So we're just going to drag it onto my external SSD just through the MacBook Pro. And let's see how long this will take. So on the MacBook Pro, this is about 2 minutes. Not bad at all. So actually, that's pretty quick. So next, we're going to use the Insignia card reader. So first, I'm going to delete the footage from the SSD. Okay, here's the file once again. just to show you, right click, we have a 25.62 gigabyte file. Let's drag and drop. So, okay, so it says 11 minutes to import this. I'm not going to wait around for that to happen. That is just insanely long, but this is my normal typically. All right, so we're up against the MacBook Pro here, just natively importing the footage through its own SD card reader. And yeah, let's try out the Pro Reader. So once again, let's check the file. We're looking at 25.62 gigabytes. Drag and drop onto the SSD. 2 minutes as well. I would say that the MacBook Pro is pretty well on par with Freewell's Pro Reader. So if you're using a MacBook Pro and all you have is just a regular SD card, no CF Express or anything, then you could safely just use your MacBook Pro's internal card reader as your dedicated card reader. So now I'm at my PC where I will be editing from, and we're going to do the PC test. So you can see right here that the cable's plugged in to the tower, and let's just drag and drop the file. The size is a little different on PC for some reason than it was on Mac. It's 25.018 rather than 25.56. So let's just drag and drop to the SSD and see what happens. So interestingly enough, it is now at 310 megabytes a second, even though the card's maximum write speed is 280 megabytes a second. And I have no idea why it's doing this. Before recording this take, I recorded another take where it was saying 250 megabytes a second. So it's very temperamental. Nonetheless, it's fast. So here you go, same file. You know what? It's actually having a good day at 42 megabytes a second. It's no 300, 308 or 250. But yeah, much slower at 9 minutes over a minute and a half. So it's a clear winner. So if you're using PC, I certainly recommend using the Freewell Pro Reader. And I'm just going to switch back to it so I can import the footage and start editing this video. It's only fair for me to mention a negative, and there is a negative on this thing that, you know, bothers me, and it may not bother all of you, but it still bothers me. So I'm going to talk about it. And that is this tiny USB-C cable. This is about, 3.5 inches. And I mainly edit on my PC, and the USB ports aren't in the most convenient places, so I have to awkwardly put the card reader on my PC. Annoying, but not the end of the world. So I wouldn't count against it. And if you're using like a MacBook Pro or you have a proper desk setup, then that won't be an issue for you, I'm sure. But it would be nice to have a longer cable at the end of the day. Another bonus is it's able to read multiple SD cards at the same time. So I'm able to put in my regular SD card and a micro SD card for my drone or audio, and I'm able to transfer both at the exact same times, which is incredibly useful because with the generic, I have to do it one at a time. It doesn't read it both, so I have to pop one out, push one in, and, you know, inconvenient and annoying. I like convenience. I like being able to quickly create without any sort of inconveniences, because then I don't really feel like doing extra content like this, for example. Now, I only have a regular SD card and a micro SD card. I don't have a CF Express A or B card, so I'm not entirely sure if it reads all four at the same time, so that I can't speak on. The Pro Reader will run you $139.99 US, but as of writing the script, it is $99.99 US. At the end of the day, do I recommend this product? If you're in the market for a super fast SD card reader, or you have like a CF Express A and B, and you need a reader that kind of just does it all and super fast, then yes, absolutely I do. Again, it's only if you need it. And if you do consider picking it up, I will have a link in the description. So be sure to click that link, and I do get a kickback, and it helps support the channel. That's it for me. Thank you again so much for watching. If there's anything else you want to see, please drop a comment below. I know that I'm due to make a color grading tutorial, and man, there are just so many people who do that better than I do, and I just use their processes. So a creator who I get a lot of inspiration from, and quite honestly, I thought I had like maybe a couple 100,000 subscribers when I first started watching his content, just because of how beautiful it all looks, is Ed Proser. So please take a look at his channel and his color grading tutorials, because trust me, he does it much better than I do. And I take a lot of inspiration from him, but one day I will make my own as well. Honestly, don't know why I haven't done it yet. It is it's absolutely a laziness thing at this point. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye now.